In the dark hours of July 1916, the world witnessed an unusual threat creeping into waters once thought safe. A German submarine, part of the Imperial German Navy, dared to surface off the coast of New York. The event shocked a city bustling with life, commerce, and the hum of everyday routines. Citizens had grown accustomed to the distant war raging in Europe, yet nothing prepared them for the sudden reality that the ocean approaching their shores could carry a deadly enemy. Submarines had long been a silent terror in the Atlantic, but to see one break the horizon near a major American port brought the conflict terrifyingly close. The German U-boat moved with calculated precision, its crew trained for stealth and disruption. It patrolled the coastline, seeking merchant ships, war materials, and any opportunity to strike fear into the hearts of Americans who believed the Atlantic protected them. New Yorkers looked out across the water with a mixture of disbelief and alarm as reports of a steel giant slicing through waves reached the newspapers. The U-boat's presence was a symbol of the reach of modern warfare, a warning that technological power could place enemies almost anywhere. For many, the sight of the submarine sparked panic and curiosity, a strange combination of dread and fascination. Military observers scrambled to understand the threat while local authorities tried to keep order along the waterfronts. This moment in history would remain vivid, a reminder that even distant wars could touch the shores of a city that thought itself untouchable. The German submarine's voyage into New York waters was no accident. Intelligence suggested that Germany sought to disrupt supply lines and demonstrate its naval capabilities directly to the American people. The U-boat, a marvel of engineering, carried torpedoes and a small deck gun, capable of striking civilian and military targets alike. Its mission was bold, almost theatrical, sending a message across the ocean that no coastline was beyond the reach of German steel. Sailors aboard the U-boat were experienced, disciplined, and fully aware of the danger of being discovered in foreign waters. They moved with precision, keeping to the depths until conditions allowed them to surface. When the submarine finally emerged near New York, it did so in the stillness of early morning, a dark silhouette against the rising sun. Local fishermen and a few early risers reported a strange shape on the horizon, unlike any vessel they had seen. Rumors spread quickly through the city, and newspapers carried urgent headlines warning of a German threat off the coast. Military installations immediately mobilized, sending patrol boats to monitor the waters. Yet the U-boat remained elusive, a ghost in the Atlantic, challenging the idea that American ports were safe from the war thousands of miles away. For historians, this moment represents a rare and audacious operation, a glimpse into the bold strategies employed during the First World War. It showcased the growing importance of submarines and how they could instill fear without firing a single shot. The submarine's appearance near New York caused a wave of anxiety among civilians and business leaders alike. Shipping companies grew wary of sending cargo ships into waters where unseen predators lurked beneath the waves. Ports increased their vigilance, employing lookouts and patrol boats to spot any unusual activity. The media seized on the story, often exaggerating details to keep the public alert. Headlines described a shadow in the harbor, an enemy steel prowling the coast, stoking fears of an imminent attack. Families along the waterfront watched from their windows, unsure if the sightings were real or imagined. Meanwhile, the U-boat continued its mission, observing shipping lanes and reporting back to Germany when possible. The submarine's ability to remain hidden despite extensive searches demonstrated the vulnerability of traditional naval forces. Naval officers debated the effectiveness of current strategies against these new threats, realizing that the era of surface dominance was being challenged by underwater warfare. The psychological impact of a submarine near New York was as significant as any physical attack. Citizens realized that war could come to their doorsteps without warning, reshaping the perception of safety and distance. Merchants worried about cargo losses, insurance rates spiked, and local authorities prepared contingency plans for a potential confrontation. The German submarine, a silent predator of the deep, had successfully brought the reality of global conflict into the everyday lives of Americans who had felt immune to the war across the ocean. Military leaders in New York acted quickly to assess the threat and develop a response. Coastal defenses were put on high alert, and naval vessels patrolled the surrounding waters day and night. Officers studied the behavior of the U-boat, attempting to predict its movements and counter its stealth capabilities. Communication networks were employed to keep authorities informed of sightings, while merchant vessels received instructions to avoid certain areas or sail in convoys. The submarine's crew, on the other hand, maintained a disciplined routine, conducting periscope scans and preparing for any engagement. They were aware that discovery could lead to a swift attack by American forces, yet they moved with confidence, trained to endure long periods underwater in isolation. Reports indicate that the submarine did not launch a major attack near New York, instead focusing on reconnaissance and intimidation. This strategy reflected Germany's broader naval objectives at the time, which combined direct action with psychological warfare. The sighting of the U-boat challenged traditional ideas of national security and forced American military planners to rethink coastal defenses. It also provided a glimpse into the dangerous cat-and-mouse game played between surface fleets and submarines. The boldness of the German crew contrasted sharply with the panic felt by civilians, highlighting the difference between trained military action and unprepared populations. Historians view these events as early examples of modern asymmetric warfare, where small, stealthy forces could threaten large, powerful nations without engaging in full-scale battle. As the submarine lingered off the coast, curiosity and fear blended in the hearts of New Yorkers. People gathered along piers, scanning the horizon for the dark shape of the U-boat. Some dismissed the reports as sensationalism, while others spoke in hushed tones of an enemy vessel that could strike without warning. The German crew watched from the deck, observing a city unaware of the full extent of the threat. In a time before instant communication and radar, submarines had the advantage of invisibility. Even brief appearances on the surface allowed them to assess shipping traffic and intimidate opponents. Patrol boats and small naval craft moved cautiously, trying to approach without provoking a torpedo attack. Each encounter required careful calculation, as a single misstep could lead to destruction for either side. The U-boat demonstrated how new technology reshaped naval strategy, introducing uncertainty and fear into areas that were once considered safe. Civilians realized that modern warfare was no longer confined to distant battlefields. It could appear suddenly in their harbor, altering routines, commerce, and the perception of security. Schools and businesses debated emergency measures, while local newspapers chronicled each sighting with dramatic language. The episode off New York became a cautionary tale about the evolving nature of war, the power of submarines, and the fragile line between safety and danger along the nation's coastlines. Despite the tension, the German submarine accomplished part of its mission simply by being seen. The psychological effect on New Yorkers was profound. Citizens began to understand that the oceans, once thought to be protective barriers, were vulnerable to stealth attacks. The military reinforced coastal defenses, improved observation posts, and experimented with early anti-submarine tactics. In the meantime, shipping companies hesitated to risk valuable cargo. This invisible threat forced the city to confront the broader realities of global conflict, turning ordinary waterfronts into zones of strategic importance. The submarine itself operated quietly, its crew performing meticulous routines, maintaining engines, and calculating patrol patterns. Communications with Germany ensured that the operation contributed to the larger war effort, even without direct engagement. This event symbolized the emergence of submarine warfare as a critical component of modern naval strategy, demonstrating that fear and uncertainty could be as effective as gunfire. Observers later noted that the U-boat's presence spurred significant improvements in American naval preparedness. Lessons learned from this encounter informed future anti-submarine efforts and highlighted the need for vigilance along even the most populous coasts. In many ways, the German submarine achieved its goal without firing a single shot, proving that the threat of war could extend far beyond battlefields and into the daily life of a distant city. In the days following the sighting, authorities conducted thorough investigations. Patrol logs, eyewitness reports, and naval intelligence were combined to paint a clearer picture of the submarine's activities. Military analysts concluded that the U-boat had operated with precision, avoiding major confrontation while gathering valuable information. The public, meanwhile, remained anxious, unsure if another appearance was imminent. Newspapers published vivid illustrations of the submarine and recounted eyewitness testimonies, further heightening public interest and concern. The event also prompted debates among policymakers, questioning whether America should strengthen its coastal defenses or consider a more active role in the European conflict. For the German crew, the operation was a demonstration of skill, discipline, and courage. They had navigated into hostile waters, maintained secrecy, and left without direct confrontation. Historians later highlighted this event as a pivotal moment, showing how modern technology could challenge traditional ideas of national security. The psychological impact on New Yorkers, combined with military observations, marked a turning point in understanding the potential of submarines as tools of both offense and intimidation. The city's waterfront, once a place of commerce and leisure, had been transformed into a zone of vigilance and uncertainty, proving that war could cast long shadows far from the battlefield. As the weeks passed, memories of the submarine sighting became part of local lore. Fishermen, sailors, and everyday citizens shared their experiences, each account adding to the growing legend of the mysterious U-boat near New York. Military officers used the event as a case study, examining patrol strategies and response times. Submarine technology continued to advance, and the lessons learned influenced both American and German naval tactics. The German operation demonstrated the effectiveness of psychological warfare, as fear and uncertainty could achieve strategic goals without a single torpedo fired. The city slowly returned to normal, but the sense of vulnerability lingered. Residents understood that the Atlantic was no longer a safe barrier and that modern warfare could reach across oceans. The submarine's brief appearance became a symbol of the changing nature of conflict, highlighting the need for preparedness, intelligence, and innovation. For historians, this moment underscores the intersection of technology, strategy, and human reaction in wartime. The U-boat did not simply visit New York waters. It left an enduring mark on the city's consciousness and the future of naval operations. The German submarine's incursion also had international implications. News of the event spread quickly to Europe and other parts of America, signaling Germany's reach and the growing threat of submarine warfare. Diplomatic conversations acknowledged the need for stronger maritime security and highlighted the risks of global conflict encroaching on neutral territories. The sighting prompted military planners to reassess strategies, emphasizing the importance of anti-submarine measures, convoy systems, and coastal fortifications. In classrooms and offices alike, people discussed the vulnerability of cities once thought safe. The operation revealed that even a single submarine could influence the politics, economics, and psychology of distant nations. Military journals later analyzed the event in detail, noting the skillful navigation, disciplined crew, and strategic patience displayed by the German sailors. For New Yorkers, the sighting remained a vivid memory of a day when war surfaced near their homes. It became a story passed through generations, a reminder that technological advancements could challenge traditional defenses, and that vigilance was necessary even in peacetime. Over time, the submarine's appearance influenced military technology and strategy in profound ways. Anti-submarine patrols became more frequent, sonar development gained urgency, and naval tactics adapted to counter the threat posed by these stealthy vessels. The psychological effect on civilians continued, fostering a culture of awareness and caution along the coastlines. Historians emphasize that this event foreshadowed the larger submarine campaigns that would dominate the Atlantic in later conflicts. The encounter also highlighted the importance of communication, intelligence, and preparation in responding to new forms of warfare. New York's experience became a case study in resilience, adaptation, and strategic thinking, showing how a city could respond to unprecedented challenges without descending into chaos. The German submarine, though it did not engage in combat, achieved a lasting impact, proving that modern warfare extended far beyond traditional battlefields. The story of the German submarine near New York serves as a testament to the changing face of war in the early 20th century. Technology, strategy, and fear combined to create a moment that captured the imagination of civilians and military alike. The event illustrated the power of a small, disciplined force operating with precision and patience. The U-boat's presence forced Americans to reconsider the safety of their shores, the reach of distant conflicts, and the need for innovation in defense. Local newspapers, eyewitness accounts, and military reports together preserve this moment, ensuring that future generations understand the impact of a single submarine on a major city. The narrative underscores the human element in warfare, showing how courage, strategy, and uncertainty shape history. In the end, the day a German submarine surfaced in New York waters remains a unique chapter in naval history. It was not the weapons fired, but the fear and uncertainty it generated that made the operation significant. Civilians gained a new understanding of the reach and power of modern warfare, while military planners learned valuable lessons in surveillance, readiness, and anti-submarine tactics. The U-boat departed as quietly as it arrived, leaving behind a city more alert, a nation more prepared, and historians with a vivid story of audacity and technological power. It stands as a reminder that even the most bustling, confident cities can face moments when distant wars suddenly become very near. The silent shadow of a submarine on the horizon proved that courage, technology, and careful planning could alter the course of events without a single shot fired.